little love because she gave a little love to Just Right. So thank you, Dr. Bird. um, it's an honor to be here. I want to thank God for this moment. Thank God just for being here in the presence of my people in North Carolina right now. And this is University. What are you willing to die for?
God.
Live for that. These are the words that were spoken to us on the first day of rehearsal at Selma by Ambassador Andrew Young. What are you willing to die for? Live for that. These are the words and the motto and the mantra that the people of the Civil Rights Movement and the SCLC live by. Andrew Young, Dr. King, Diane Nash, and the countless others who lived and died for us. What are you willing to die for? Live for that. Well, these words resonated with me when he said that. I went home from that rehearsal and thought about, what am I willing to die for? Well, I thought about that I'm willing to die for what I believe in. I'm willing to die for my Creator and what I believe in God. So I thought about, that's what I should live for.
That's right.
Because whatever you're willing to die for is what you will live for. And I thought about how the people of the Civil Rights Movement were willing to die for equality, for justice, for freedom, for love. So they lived for that each and every day. Well, when I got home that night, I was thinking, I've been wanting to do some things in life that really mean something. I've been wanting to be great. But what really is greatness? The greatest among us is the one who serves.
That's right. That's right.
So I started to think about what am I truly living for? And what do I give my 24 hours in a day to? And am I dedicated to my cause of living for God and living for helping the community and living for the people? Well, I started to also think about what would greatness be for me? Because for a long time, I wanted to be this great artist. I wanted to be this great actor. But what really would that greatness entail? Because I also started to think about those who are the greatest among us, people that we look at as the greats, whether it was the days of Michael Jordan or Oprah Winfrey or our great president Barack Obama or Dr. Martin Luther King or Jesus.
Come on now. Come on now.
Or Jesus, because there's something about greatness. Because greatness is the thing that when you reach the highest level within yourself, the highest potential within yourself, by doing that, you inspire others to be steady. When you think about those people I named, whether it was Oprah Winfrey, who also always has inspired us, Dr. King, we still use his quotes and his mantras, and his life is still alive because of his greatness. Or even someone like Michael Jordan, who maybe didn't know his cause yet, but he was just out there to be the greatest ball player. He made everybody around him great. And then we think about Jesus. Jesus was so great that when people walked in the room and touched him, they were healed.
Come on now.
Well, I started to think about how can I reach the greatness that I want to achieve? How can we reach the greatness that we want to achieve? And I came up with this antidote to reaching greatness. And that's to find your path, believe in your path, and live your path. So to reach greatness, I said I have to find my path, believe in my path, and live my path. Well, I had the opportunity to talk to some of you all's fellow graduates, and I have to say I was inspired and impressed because each graduate knew where they wanted to go, knew what the next step was, knew this was a blessing to reach graduation in 2015, but they also had a focus and a vision. But finding your path is not always easy. I remember when I was 12 years old, I first heard the story about Emmett Till. Emmett Till was a young man from Chicago, just like myself, who came down to Mississippi and because he whistled at a white woman, he was basically dragged out of his auntie's house and killed at the age of 14. And when I heard that story about Emmett Till, I felt like I had to do something with my life. I wanted to do something great in my life. I didn't know yet what I wanted to do. I hadn't found my path, but I knew I wanted to do something. Around that same time, I was interested in all these different things. Math, basketball. In fact, I had a math teacher who was so cool. His name was Mr. Brown. He looked like Luther Vandross, right? And Mr. Brown, I used to act up in his class a lot because I was trying to get the ladies' attention. You know, when you're young, you think that's how you get the ladies' attention. Well, I would act up in his class, and Mr. Brown would point at me at a certain point and say, "You're greater than that. Rashid, you're greater than that." And though I didn't let the rest of the class know that he was affecting me, I realized that I was greater than what I was acting. I was greater than the way I was behaving. Well, I hadn't found what I wanted to do yet. I hadn't found my path. As I said, I love basketball at the same time. And during this time, I was playing basketball for Biddy Basketball, which was like between the ages of 10 and 13. It was a community center around my house. And the best players in Biddy Basketball would play in the first and fourth quarters. And the busters would play in the second and third quarters. Unfortunately, I was the second and third quarter player. Well, my first game, I get in the game, second quarter. I'm dribbling, but I didn't get any assists. I didn't score any points. So I came back to the bench and I started crying a little bit. But I told the team that my stomach was hurting because I was embarrassed. Well, this happened 3 weeks straight. 3 weeks straight. I didn't get any assists, any points. I was feeling bad about myself. I came and sat on the bench and I'm crying, saying my stomach hurt. Well, my uncle was one of the assistant coaches, so by this third week when I came and sat on the bench, he threw down his keys and said some words I don't want to say at this prestigious university, at this college graduation, but the gist of what he was saying was that if you want to be great, you have to practice. You have to train. You have to work. But the beautiful thing about the work that I'm talking about and finding your path in the work is it's not really work. It's love. Khalil Gibran, who wrote the book The Prophet, said, work is love made visible. Work is love made visible. So when you find something that you're really passionate about, something that's your calling, something that you were sent here to do, you're doing it in love. You were created to do it. And see, I hadn't trained and worked to get good at basketball. I knew I loved it, but I hadn't trained. So that after my uncle told me those words, I went home, started practicing on my game. I would dribble every morning before I go to school. Then come back after I did my work and dribble. Started working on my game. I would get in the games, started getting assists. I was a point guard, so I was getting assists. Then next year, I got into the first and fourth quarters. Then I became an all-star. Fast forward, y'all seen Just Right. I'm NBA material now, right? You know that, right? NBA material now. You seen my game. I came through working, training, and practice. Anything you want to be great at, you have to work at. Every day you get up in the morning thinking about what you want to create in that world that you can be great at. Your passion. Well, I hadn't found my path yet. I was up one night with my cousin in Cincinnati. I would go visit him every summer. I was up with him. I was 12 years old. So you can see a lot of things happen to me when I was 12. But I was 12 years old, and we were deciding to write these raps because some of our friends were like Cincinnati's Run DMC. So we said, hey, we're gonna write these raps, like our friends do. So we decided to write these raps. Actually, I'm gonna kick it to you. This is the first rap I wrote. I said, well, let me tell you about a trip. A time ago, I was going there to run a cold-blooded show. When I was there, I saw some people jamming too. They called themselves the Bond Hill Crew. Dr. Ice, Romeo, and Master E. All of the Bond Hill Crew rapped into a T. I asked them, could they rock with me? That's all I remember from that time. Little did I know, I had found my path. I had found my voice. But I found my voice in doing something that I loved. It was something that I was passionate about, something that I just decided to do out of love. And little did I know that this voice, hip-hop, would take me around the world, to Japan, to Africa, to Australia, to China, to the White House to meet the first black president and first lady, to the Oscars, to Winston-Salem State University.
That's
Little did I know, I had found my path. But finding your path is only the first step to greatness. Finding your path is finding your purpose, your calling. And that's only the first step to greatness. Because after you find your path, you have to believe in your path. Believing in your path is essentially believing in yourself wholeheartedly with all you have. Believing in your path. Well, I've been releasing records, and I knew that I was like this dope artist. I'm like, I'm a dope MC, I'm cold, man. But I realized that I truly didn't believe in myself. And ironically enough, I found this out through a breakup that I had. I was in a relationship with Erykah Badu. Y'all know Erykah Badu? Yeah, I know Erykah Badu window seat very well, you know?
Yes, sir.
Well, through this breakup that we had, I started to realize some things about myself. You know, when you go through that breakup sometimes, you're going through them hard moments. You know, guys don't admit it, but we go through it too. And I was going through some of those hard moments where I had to search and find myself and see what was I doing wrong? What was the lesson in this? And what I found out is that I was willing to dim my light for others. I was willing to dim my light, whether it was in a relationship or being around other people who were great or being around people who I thought were tougher than me. I was willing to dim my light for others. Well, that right there is a sin. Because our light was created not to be put under the bed, but to be put on the lampstand, so that everybody that walks in that room can see that light and recognize that light. So I started to work on myself and realized that I had to believe in myself. And believing in myself meant letting my light shine. There's a quote from Nelson Mandela that I use. It was originally from a woman named Marion Williamson. And it has something to do with letting our light shine. And this is the quote. It says, our greatest fear is not, excuse me, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world.
right.
Your playing small does not serve the world. We were created here to be big, to show our light to others. Well, on my path of believing, I started to say every morning I'm going to get up and say and claim what I want for the day. I thank God for the day and claim what I want for the day. And one thing about when you're on your path of believing, you have to believe with every morsel that you have in your body, every cell, every molecule, all that you have. And also when you're on that path of believing, it's a process. Everything is not just going to just wake up and now you just believe in everything. And when you do it, you also want to surround yourself with people who do believe and support that belief. Because there can be times where you know your path and some people around you may not know your path. They may not support it. There can be people that care about you, that love you, your friends, your cousins, your parents. Well, my mom at one point when I decided that I wanted to leave school because she had worked so hard, and I was in college and I had got my contract to rap, my mother was like, are you crazy? You trying to leave school? Wait, what are you talking about? You're about to, I was doing excellent in school and she's like, you ready to leave school to rap? And I was like, yes, Mom, this is my dream. Fast forward, she like, hurry up and make a new album, I need a new car. But you have to believe in your path. It doesn't matter what other people say, you know what your path is, and believing in your path is believing in you. And as you surround yourself with those who support your belief, it's important. You know, during the time when I was working on this process of believing in my path, I surrounded myself with my bro, Kanye West. Now y'all know Kanye has no problem believing in himself, right? Well, this is the time when Kanye was about to release the album College Dropout, and we were working on my album B. And we would do something called listening sessions. This is when you play your music for journalists who never heard the album. You preview it for them so they can hear it. Well, Kanye would get up on the table and start rapping his songs, and be rapping and sweating and spitting when he rapping. And it was songs I didn't even like, but I started liking because he was rapping them so hard. Belief is contagious. Belief is contagious. Well, during that time of working on my belief, I said, hey, I'm going to do my listening sessions, and no, I'm not going to jump up on the table. But what I'm going to do is do it the way I would do it when I do believe in myself. And I would sit and rap my songs and tell the journalists, hey, this song is great, this is a classic album. And when we released the album B, it was the first time ever that I received classic reviews right when the album was released. And I said, wow, this belief thing is powerful. That album went on to get 5 Grammy nominations. Yes. And at the same token, thank you. In that same year, I received my first acting role for a movie called Smoking Aces. So I said, wow, man, this belief thing, I just gotta keep this belief thing going because it's really working. Well, 5 Grammy nominations. I'm thinking about the speeches. So I'm saying, okay, I'm in Australia, first time in Australia, and I'm saying, let me get together at least 3 speeches. I can freestyle the other 2. I got 5 Grammy nominations. Fast forward, it's Grammy night. I'm in my white suit, cream suit, with my mother. Kanye West is with Dr. Donda West, God bless her soul. John Legend is with his mom. Good music is in the building. Well, on the way to the Grammys, they announced 2 of the awards I was up for. And I didn't receive those 2 awards. So I said, okay, I got 3 speeches, 3 awards, I'm good. Well, we sat in the seats and Kanye got 2 awards, John Legend went up and got 1, then he got another. And they announced 2 more of the categories I was up for, and I didn't receive that award either, those 2 either. So I said, wow, I had 3 speeches, I'm gonna have to crunch all my speech into one, they gonna turn the music on. Well, Ludacris comes out to announce Best Rap Album. And Ludacris had always said to me that he really loved my music and I was an inspiration to him, so I felt that it was serendipitous. And Kanye turned around to me and said, you got this one, man. I was like, yeah, I got this one. So Ludacris opens the envelope and says, yes, I want y'all to give it up for my man, he deserves this is my man. And I started rising out of my seat and he said, give it up for Kanye West. So I'm standing up. Well, I didn't get those awards. And that night, we had the Grammy family party, and we went home. Well, we went to the party and Kanye had his Grammys and his mom on one arm and Grammys in the other. John Legend had his Grammys and his mom in one arm. And I just had my mother. I mean, I love my mother, but man, that was nice. And I truly believed I was going to receive those Grammys. I believed in that path, so much that I came up with speeches. But believing in your path is only the second step to greatness, because you have to live your path. And living your path means that you will face challenges, and that everything that you want may not come when you want it, but it will come in divine time, God's time. I didn't get the Grammys. You may not receive something that you really want right now, really want it. But if you really truly do believe in it, then you know it will come. And when it comes, you will be prepared. And you also will know that that journey is what got you there. And you will receive that with gratitude. Well, that morning we got up, I got up and called Kanye and said, man, let's go at it. He said, let's get back in the studio. We went in the studio, and later that year we received a Grammy for a song off my album called Southside, the new album I released, Find It Forever. I will say this, when you live your path, you will face many challenges. Health challenges, issues with your family, situations of financial challenges that we all have, academic challenges, looking for a job as you go into the work field. But these challenges are there for you to grow. Each and every situation that comes into your life, no matter how difficult it may seem, is a period of growth for you. It's all on how you view it. As Olivia referenced Frederick Douglass, I must say a Frederick Douglass quote that I love is, "Without struggle, there is no progress." So for us, in order for us to grow, and you all know because you all are graduates, in order for us to reach a certain pinnacle, you have to struggle. You have to go through these challenges. And some of them you don't know why. Because when I mentioned to you my cousin, Ajale, who I wrote my first rap with, who was my best friend, he died in 2009 in a motorcycle accident. And I didn't know why. I actually, had to ask God, why did this happen? What happened with my cousin? Like what? Why was it his turn to go? And I didn't get all the answers then, but as I started to examine Ajale's life, I saw he was one of those people that was willing to take risks. He was an adventurous person. He wasn't afraid of anything. He was the type that would go like bungee jumping off of cliffs, zip lining. This is a black dude I'm talking about, right? He gotta be black, right? Well, I started to look and say, though I didn't get all the answers, I started to look at Ajale's life, and even in his death, I learned things. I learned that I wasn't willing to take risks, and that I had to be more adventurous. Well, living your path is going to take those things, take those opportunities of learning. And there's a quote that I like to use from the Bible, and no, I'm not as good as Reverend Scovens, but I like to say, this is what I get from James chapter 1. I know we're not in church, but consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Not lacking anything. In order for us to achieve greatness, we must be whole human beings, complete, not lacking anything. Because greatness also is not only something you will do in your profession. When I think of greatness, I think of great fathers, great teachers, great daughters, great aunties, great human beings that just treat each other with love.
Great aunties.
That's all part of being a complete, whole human being. And that's how we complete ourselves in greatness. As we live this path and as you continue to go high, because you all are going higher, know that as you climb up the mountain, it will be more difficult sometimes. It's just like going up the mountain. The higher you go, the altitude gets higher. And it becomes harder to breathe. But that's okay, because you climbed a long way already. And you can appreciate where you are at that moment on that mountain. And if you can see the mountaintop, you know that you can get there. And as we keep climbing these mountains, because no matter what, even me as an artist, I face the challenges. Just recently I auditioned for a movie, and it was like a movie with George Clooney and Julia Roberts and all these great actors. And I went in there and I just messed up in the audition. And I left out doubting myself for a second. But I had to realize that I had been on the path to greatness, and I wanted to achieve these things for a higher purpose. And everything that God wanted for me, I would have. Whether it was a role, whether it was a wife, whether it was a job, I knew that those are the things that God would deliver to me. But I want to say to you all, he said, here's my wife. Yeah, I didn't meet you.
Everybody's still
I want to say to you all, to the class of 2015, as you step into your greatness, which you all already have achieved by graduating as you go further, remember the greatest of you is those who serve. And as you find your path and believe in your path and live your path, you know that you entered to learn, and now you must depart to serve. Well, there's a quote from the great Dr. King that I would like to use and say to you all that has something to do with us being servants. And this is what he said. If you want to be important, wonderful. If you want to be recognized, wonderful. If you want to be great, wonderful. But recognize that he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. That's a new definition of greatness. And this morning, the thing that I like about giving that definition of greatness, it means that everybody can be great because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve, but thank God you all got a college degree. Yes. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You don't have to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve. You don't have to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve. You don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics and physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love, and you can be that servant. Thank you. God bless.